the WBC heavyweight champion, obviously had the upper hand in that, and that small decision, a split decision, gave it to Tyson Fury. Well, we'll be talking a little bit of that as well. We've got a man in the studio who knows everything about this, but you've never been to UFC fighting. You haven't gotten involved into UFC fighting. David Bwangi is a fitness consultant and also a man who talks more about nutrition and sports science. How important do you think, for example, sports science was upped in this fight, Nganou versus Tyson Fury? I mean, these are two big men.
Yes.
You can see, yeah? Yes. But you can see one is a little bit, shapely in terms of defined, in terms of his body muscles than the other. But that other one is the world champion.
So for me, I believe nutrition has two aspects. There's a way nutrition, you can rely on it on fueling your body, but again, you can use nutrition to condition your body. Because once you're able to alter like your body composition, have more of the lean mass, less of the fat, then that gives you an edge in terms of endurance. So that's why probably you see even with the training, Nganou, I'm sure he lost a little bit of weight and became leaner, and that gave him a good edge.
Does that make him lighter when he's leaner as well? Does he move faster?
You see, of course, it makes you lighter, and of course with the training you can be more agile, but in regards to performance, if you've got more lean, meaning less fat, then that sharpens something you call your body water. You've got more fluids to your weight ratio, and that gives you an advantage when it comes to endurance.
That's very interesting. Let's look at this sports science and this nutrition you're talking about. It obviously applies to literally every sport. Yes. Wilfred Bungei is an Olympic champion. If, for example, he asked you what you would recommend for him as a diet, and also for his conditioning of the body, what do you think you would advise to him? I want to see whether it contrasts with what he believes in.
So for me, I usually say when it comes to nutrition, most people generalize nutrition or meals, and it needs to be customized. So before I would recommend anything, I will take him a couple of questions. I'll give him a questionnaire to fill.
He's here, ask him the questions.
Of course, there'll be many, and some of them will be personal.
No, ask him personal questions, he doesn't mind.
So general questions will be like, for how long has he been working out?
For how long have you been working out, Wilfred?
And currently, if he is or not.
Are you working out now or not?
Well, of course not.
So you see, because you see nutrition.
So what do you recommend to him? Ugali and nyama straight. He's not even working out anyway.
So it depends also with his goal, because you can't impose a meal plan or a nutritional plan on somebody without first figuring them out. You need to understand, do they have a goal? What's their main aim? Do they have preferences of some certain foods over the others? There's also things like culture. Some people, according to their maybe religion or culture, there are some foods they can't eat.
Okay.
So you need to, and then also things like medical health. Are you allergic to some foods? So there is a series of questions you need to engage somebody, and then at the end of the day,
if you're an athlete like some of us who are allergic to nothing, we can eat anything at any time. There's some people, if you tell them about allergies to food, they ask you how. How do
you get allergy to food?
How do you get allergy? But of course, you probably
I know some people will eat anything that moves.
Yes.
As long as they've not been told it's not edible, they'll just eat it.
So the allergies would probably also determine what you'd recommend as nutrition for someone.
Yes.
And mostly, what do you get? You get people with protein allergies or nuts allergies, which is still protein allergies?
You see, if it's protein, you'll find it's more specific. You can't just say you're allergic to protein. It's maybe you're allergic to eggs, or maybe you're allergic to pork, or maybe lamb. Some people it's nuts,
so it depends. To all the nice things in life.
But it's not everyone. You'll get somebody, they can eat eggs, but they can't eat maybe fish.
Let me ask you a question before everybody can jump in as well.
Yes.
Ferdinand Omanyala is Africa's fastest man.
Yes.
He has just changed his coach and is taken as a strength and conditioning coach. We've talked to him a lot of times, but now he's taken as strength and conditioning coach. What do you think will be different in him that will be visible, that we can see when we see him next running? Strength and conditioning.
When it comes to training, that you see, when you want to build muscle, or rather condition your body, it's all about the levels of stress you're exposing that your physical skeletal muscles to. So if you're used to the same drill, same training, chances are your brain will feel that it's within your body, the muscles that you have to handle that pressure. So you'll not be making any progress.
Okay.
So at that point, you'll be on a plateau. So when you have a new coach, chances are the training might be different. If it's the nutrition, there might be a tweak to the nutrition. So that will put extra stress, on the brain in terms of seeing the physical performance is probably a notch higher. Then that will force the brain to make sure the body adapts to that extra stress. And that's where you get the extra performance.
Well, Wilfred has a question that seems
sure.
like it's burning here.
David, thanks first for
Kevin.
coming here. Okay,
Kevin,
Kevin,
yes.
thanks for coming here, so that you can be able to educate us, especially the professional athletes. Because I know, Bernard is telling me I'm an Olympic champion, but former Olympic champion, of course, it remains an Olympic champion always. During my time, nutrition was not so important. Of course, we would have a nutritionist, but we would always stick to the traditional food that we have known. Now, my question is this. Is there nutrition that is different for different athletes? For example, we have those who are sprinters to middle distance and long distance. Is there a special nutrition that can be designed for the same?
100%. Just like I said, nutrition can be generalized. Because all these disciplines, you'll find people have different body types. For instance, when you look at sprinters, they are built. There are people who weigh around 70, 80, 90 kilos, depending on also their height.
And they need a quick burst of
Depending on
speed,
their height.
for 10 seconds
So
and they're through.
these are guys who are more built. And when you compare them to marathoners, these are guys who are very lean and very light. The range of 48, 50, 50 kilos. So when you look at their sizes, these people have got different weights. So that means in terms of energy, they'll be using different levels of energy as much as they will be doing the same thing. For instance, if you go to the gym, you walk on a treadmill, same speed, same distance. You not burn the same calories if you subject somebody who's probably 60 and another one who's 90 or 100 kilos. The heavier person burns more calories doing the same thing. So that's why even you see in sports, most sports are classified by weight. Because the smaller person or the lighter person is using less energy doing the exact same thing. So now, when you look at these disciplines, you'll see, like just you've mentioned, there's the people who are in martial arts, there are those boxers, but you see there are different levels in terms of the weight classes. So when it comes to the nutrition, of course, it will have to be different in terms of the total goal, the amount of food they need to be eating. And then it also depends on their body composition. How much lean is your body? Because if your body has more, let's say you've got slightly more fat, as much as you're still in the same category with somebody who is lean. For instance, Tyson Fury and Nganou. They might be in the same weight class, but their body composition is completely different. So one person would easily put on fat weight, and the other person probably the weight is not easy to maintain, so they have to make sure they keep eating.
I just wonder, Bernard, when I look at the most popular sport in this country, which is football, now, well, granted now the situation of the players financially is getting a bit better, but it is still not where we want it to be, or where they would want it to be. And I just wonder, Bernard, if I was that player, would I be concentrating more on this nutrition, or just eating what is easy for me to eat? I mean, how do you integrate?
But your question is whether nutrition is expensive, Ken.
How do you integrate?
But before we go there on whether it's expensive or not, there's a study that said that the reason why we have good marathoners from, for example, the Rift Valley, has something to do with the nutrition, and has something to do with the air around that place. And I don't know the shape of the foot or something like that. This is a study that was done some time back. What's your comment on that? Is it the traditional foods, or what is it? Because they say the foods that they're eating there is what is making them have that endurance.
So for me, I believe fitness is holistic. It's not just
holistic. It's not just one thing.
You can just not pinpoint the meals. It's a lot of factors. There's environmental. There is also things to do with even genetics. Because you also have people in these other parts of the country with probably similar, altitude or maybe the weather, but you not find them performing the same. So there's genetics, then there's the meals, then there's the environment. So as much as yes, you're saying, of course, meals also have have a role to
Yeah,
play,
yeah,
because
they
you'll
do.
find most of those people, when you look at what they're eating less of the processed foods. And when you compare to people who are in developed countries, accessing these organic or these,
It's impossible.
It's close to impossible.
It's difficult.
And you see there's something.
You are a trainer, okay? And I assume you also do some personal training as well. What do you make of discipline? Do you ask the people you're training, do they stick to the nutritional discipline, or is that one of our weaknesses as well? Many people will tell you, I hear this a lot, that the moment I pass through that Kenchik shop and that smell just hits me, that is it. And for some reason, that Kenchik, that early morning chips, fries in the morning, for some reason is irresistible.
So it depends. If you're dealing with just an ordinary person who's a fitness enthusiast, chances are they'll be 60 to 70% loyal to the plan. But if you're dealing with an athlete, those guys are usually in the range of 90.
So professionals are strict to their
because you see, they will have themselves to blame in case they underperform. And you see, there's a lot of time, money, emotions that is involved when it comes to prepping for an event. So that's why you see, when you're dealing with athletes, they're more committed as compared when you're dealing with just a normal fitness.
Just one. What would you advise for any sports person in terms of supplements? I ask this question because it's very important for our sportsmen. To
that's his area of
supplements.
specialty as well. Supplements.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When it comes to supplements, because sometimes some supplements have put people in trouble. What would you say for those who?
So before I answer that, allow me to ask you a question. Why do we eat? Just generally, it's a funny question, but because people will find themselves, like now you said, you'll just walk into KFC or Kenchik and grab anything.
And just eat,
or when you're hungry, you'll just think of what can I eat just
What's
to be
closest
full.
to you?
So people forget that there is something that they are fulfilling. So that's why I asked you a question, just to answer, why do we eat generally?
I think we eat because we are hungry.
That's a good answer. Yourself?
Because it's time to eat.
That's another one.
We eat to live, my friend. We need to eat to live.
Perfect.
So
That's a good one.
Not live to eat.
Yeah.
So basically, the way we are seated, we are resting. There's energy that we are using when you're resting. Your organs, your heart is beating, your lungs are functioning, all your organs, and there's blood flowing. The organs are working, and then there's your skeletal muscles. For posture, just sitting like this, your muscles are constantly using energy. So that's what we call basal metabolism. So when you're eating to sustain that. So that is what we call resting energy. And then there is active energy. When you make movements, you're going to work, you're going to the gym. Once you start moving, your muscles now use, they work more, your organs work more. So now when you're eating, you're eating to sustain your organs and muscles, and then you're also eating for the activity. So you're basically eating, just like Bernard said, to live. But you see, now the moment you're looking at sports, it means now you're moving more, meaning the active segment, it's more pronounced. Then it means now you need to enhance your eating. And for as much as you're talking about supplements, there are people who've got a low weight class. Let's say somebody who's around 48 kilos. As much as, yes, they're athletes, the nutritional requirements are lower. So they might not really be dependent on the supplements. Maybe a few components, depending on
They'll
whether
just
they have
eat normal
nutrition.
food and they'll be okay with it.
Yes. But
it's those who want to do something extra.
now, for those who want to do something extra, now you'll find them now more inclined towards now using the supplements. And supplements are very broad.
Okay.
They're very broad.
Tell me something, and as we wind up as well, how important is the recommendation for use of supplements and for specific nutrition, especially in the Kenyan setup? Kenya has been the Kenyan sports has been accused of not transforming. It's still the traditional. We play basketball the traditional way, play football the traditional way. We have not, picked up on this, elite kind of preparation for sports, and that includes nutritional value at that level. What's your comment regarding that? Is this true? Is it something we need to take seriously?
Yes, I would say we are lagging behind when it comes to now enhancing nutrition and accepting that how we eat, the nutrition is a science. So when it comes to enhancing sport through nutrition, it means chances are very high that you need to be supplementing. Look at other countries, like for instance South Africa, when they're playing rugby, those clubs, those teams, they have sponsors for supplements. But when it comes to our clubs here, you know, our body that governs the sports, it's called ADAC.
ADAC,
The anti-doping agency. They just had a seminar sometime last year and they declared zero tolerance to food supplements. But you see, that is just being vague because they're not, you know, you need...
it's just a blanket condemnation on everything, regardless of whether the supplement is legal or not. Because we also know that people are taking illegal supplements as well. That's true, yeah.
There are people who are using banned substances. And the thing is that they hide behind supplements so that their penalties are reduced. And you see, it becomes frustrating to ADAC when it comes to you've been found out you've been using something that is banned. Then you blame a supplement. Then another athlete, then you blame a supplement so that your penalty is reduced.
Is lower. So you say you took it in a supplement.
Because they don't have the machinery to test these supplements, because most of these tests are done from abroad. So they just declare zero tolerance to supplements, which now eventually ends up hurting our athletes.
Okay, Moas, I understand. Thank you very much. We're very happy for that. Thank you for all that information that we've gotten. And yes, I think you make a very salient point there, that actually ADAC should look into it, not just to ban every supplement blanketly, but to look at what is legal and what is not legal.
Yes.
All right. I've been looking at the comments that were coming in regarding the South African rugby team, and they're all positive. Congratulations to rugby. What is this? Not Kunjani, but somebody said Kenako, you know, welcome to South Africa anytime. That is the way we do it in South Africa, and congratulations. So we thank you very much for having kept us company. We'll leave you with the diary of what's going on over the weekend, the fixtures, and you can put it on your diary and make sure you support sports by going to cheer your favorite sport. Mwangi, thank you very much, and good evening.
Thanks for having me.
All right.